What is up, retro game fans? Jay here from Square Pegs, and I tell you today, in the modern gaming landscape, we are spoiled for fantastic retro-style modern games. Now, last month, I gave you a list of 10 fantastic retro-style modern ones, and this month, we're running it back again. Here are 10 more fantastic retro-style modern games that I think everyone should be playing. Surprising no one, like, my favorite video games from retro systems are the Mega Man games. I also really like Mario, and I really like Castlevania. So when you kind of take all of those, smush them into this just kind of ridiculous smorgasbord of video game, you get something like Cathedral. Now, it isn't a one-to-one to any of those, but there are elements from each of those games that take part in this title. This game is incredibly challenging. It is one of the more difficult platformers I have played over the last few years, but it's something that I find incredibly rewarding because it's one of those games that when you finally beat a level or you beat a screen and you're able to get through and collect the treasure you're trying to find, there's a sense of accomplishment there. And it feels like something that I would have played back on maybe not the NES, maybe something like the Super Nintendo or something like that around the 16-bit generation. It's just a spectacular game. I really love this one. It can be bought digitally. There's also a fantastic physical release from Premium Edition Games, which I love. I've shown that off on the channel in the past. So if you are interested in owning this physically, the opportunity is out there. This game's amazing. I strongly urge you to check it out. Oh, I love Broforce so much. Broforce is such just a heartfelt appreciation of action schlock from the 80s and 90s. Like, every character is inspired by a character from an action movie. You have characters like the Terminator, the Brominator. You have Command Bro, Arnold as Commando. There's Agent J. There's Bronan the Barbarian. Like, it's ridiculous, and it's very much something that is clearly inspired by games like Metal Slug, like Contra, because while it's really fun single player, where your money is made and where your bread is buttered is in multiplayer. And you can do that in couch co-op, which is spectacular, or you can play it online, which is also really fun. It is a magnificent game. There's some incredible expansions too, like they did an Expendables expansion called the Expendabros. There's a ton of characters to unlock. In particular, my favorite is MacGyver, because he throws bombs that stick to things with bubblegum. It's wonderful. I just love how ridiculously stupid the game is, because as a concept, it's dumb, but as an execution, it's spectacular. Some of my favorite NES games are ones that are really hard to get a hold of, and they're Shatterhand and Power Blade 2. Now, I'm lucky enough that I own the original Power Blade now, and I'm also lucky enough that a game like Prison City exists, which came out a couple of years ago. I have it on the Switch. It is a wonderful kind of love letter to games like Shatterhand and Power Blade. You go into Detroit, which I love because, that's in my home state here in Michigan, and the gameplay is just spectacular. It feels like it stepped right off of the NES. It's challenging, the level designs are quality, the look of the game is wonderful. It leans into that kind of retro aesthetic and doesn't pull any punches by trying to guide you through gently onto what the game is going to be. It's balls to the wall difficult from jump. Like, that opening level is hard. Love this game. It is super fun, and it is not expensive by any stretch of the imagination. It's one of the cheaper games in the eShop, and I'm pretty sure you can play it on areas like Steam as well. So if you're a PC gamer, be sure to check it out. Prison City can't be missed. I love the original Jetpack, which was a game from Rare. It played really, really well. It was a game that you played as a character that had a jetpack, and there was gravity involved, so you would launch yourself up with a jetpack, and you'd slowly start to descend down, and you'd be able to launch it again. You had to collect fuel and things like that to keep yourself going. It was a shooter, and it was just wonderful. And when Jet Rider released, I want to say it was last year or the year before, I was blown away by the quality of the game, because it took a lot of the gameplay that was a signature experience from Jetpack or Jetpack Refueled and created this incredible adventure game out of it. So you play as Jet Rider, who fancies himself a bit of a intergalactic superhero, and you kind of blast your way through these different levels to explore, to find the different unlockables, to rescue characters. And it's amazing. Like, I was just literally blown away by how good this game was and how it really felt like something that I could have played back when I was a teenager on the N64 or the Super Nintendo. It's a spectacular game, and one that was like legitimately one of my favorites from the last couple of years.
Then we shall make none. Now, for honor and glory!
Okay, I freely admit this one might be cheating, because the games that inspired this one are games from this publisher. This is Triangle Strategy, and clearly this game was inspired by Final Fantasy Tactics. And I mean, if you're gonna choose to be inspired by a game, you might as well pick from the best, right? Triangle Strategy is a great game. It is a heavy game. It is not something you're just gonna sit down and play some kind of easy breezy afternoon. Trust me, it is something that it's an investment. There's a lot of story going on here, a whole lot of lore, and a lot of heavy lifting done by some incredible strategic gameplay. It's one that I was not expecting to be nearly as good as it is, but when the original demo released on the eShop, I was hooked, I was blown away, and I was ecstatic to try it out. And it just delivered on the final release. It was a wonderful title that is just feels like it stepped out of the PS1. It's awesome. If you haven't played it, you owe it to yourself to do so, because it is legitimately one of the best strategy games on the Nintendo Switch and on other consoles as well. Take 1 part Contra, 1 part Turrican, add pyro, heavy metal music, and you get Valfaris, one of the best run-and-gun platforming shooters I have ever played. It is a hardcore game. It is super difficult. It does not pull any punches. It does not give you any hand-holding guidance on how to get through things. It just kicks the door open and says, get to work. And it is so good. Like, if you love heavy metal, you need to have this game in your collection just alone for the soundtrack. If you love run-and-gun shooters, you need to play this game because it is one of the best ever made. Graphically, it is top-notch. It looks like one of the best Sega Genesis titles ever made that was just lost to time and was rediscovered in the 2020s and just brought forth to us to have this unbelievable, incredible game. Legitimately one of my favorite games of the last 15 years. Valfaris is difficult, it is hard, it is unforgiving, and it is worth every second of gameplay. Ooh, licensed game fans, we have been eating good lately. When we got games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which I featured in the previous video about amazing modern-style retro games, link on screen right now, we have gotten so many other ones as well. There's a G.I. Joe beat-em-up, which, spoilers, will be in future releases. But the one I want to talk about today is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Revenge from Atari. This game is incredible, because not only do you get quality, action-packed beat-em-up levels, you also get some really cool Zord levels as well, where you play as the Zord for whatever Ranger you're piloting at that time, and you're playing as the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, not anyone from any of the new series or anything like that, just the original cast and Tommy. The game is spectacular, it's fun, it gives a good challenge without being too hard, it's classic beat-em-up action, and it is just a perfect example of what can be done with a license when developers are given the opportunity to just embrace what makes that license great. One of my favorite games back in the PS1 generation was Monster Rancher. If you don't know what Monster Rancher was, it was a game that allowed you to open your PlayStation 1 and insert a music CD, and the game would then scan the music CD for data and give you a unique monster based on what disc it was. And sometimes you would just get a random-ass monster because it didn't know what your Gregorian chant album was, or it didn't recognize your bootleg copy of Green Day's Kerplunk, but there were certain albums you were able to put in, certain discs you were able to put in that would give you specific monsters. And it was amazing. It was super fun. And Cassette Beasts, which is the game you're seeing here, feels like a combination between that game, Pokemon, and My Pet Monster. Now, you don't get to create monsters out of thin air like you did in Monster Rancher, but music is a heavy aspect of this title, and the characters you find are very clearly inspired frequently by modern mythology. Things like cryptids, things like legendary monsters of our world and things like that. And then there's just the overtly Pokemon aspect of things where you get into battles and you're able to capture them. It's a fascinating game. I really enjoy this one. It's one of my favorites on the Switch, and it's something that my kid taught me about and told me that I should play, and damn it, they were right. Tunic is a game that is clearly rooted in its retro, well, roots, I guess, because it's very much a Zelda love letter. It plays like a Zelda game. It looks like a Zelda game. It even feels like a Zelda game as you're going through it. But it also sets itself apart by kind of leaning into the mystery behind the game. So as you're playing, it is a Zelda game. You have a sword, you find items, you use them, you kill enemies. There's an overworld, there's an underworld, blah, blah, blah. But there's also a mystery at play in Tunic as well, where you have to discover the language to be able to read the signs. And I think that's incredibly fascinating, and I think that's a really clever gameplay element that I've never really seen before outside of like things like Myst or games of that ilk where you have to solve a mystery to be able to understand things. I think it's very, very fascinating. It's a spectacular title. There are some great collector's editions out there. I've shown off the CE on the channel before in the past, and it's just a lovely, lovely game. I think it's available like everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's available on Game Pass. So if you haven't had a chance to play it yet, you can do so there. But otherwise, can't recommend it enough. Fantastic game. So what happens when you take the Game Boy Advance Wario Land game and you combine it with a personality of a hyperactive 4-year-old hopped up on sugar and cocaine? You get Anton Blast, which is legitimately one of the most kinetic, fast video games I've ever seen in my life, and it feels like it stepped right out of the Game Boy Advance era. I loved the original Anton game, which was Anton Ball, and it was a really interesting take on a Brick Breaker where it was kind of a Brick Breaker platformer, which I thought was very creative. But when I knew they were coming out with Anton Blast, which is a platformer that is also equal parts speedrunner because you have to evacuate every level you go into, I was absolutely intrigued because the animations in the game were spectacular. The voices in the game are wonderful. The gameplay is challenging, fun, fast, and it's just a stunning title. It is a ridiculously over-the-top game that leans not only into the fact that it is just a love letter to all things Wario, it is also a beautiful demonstration of physics engines at work that make the gameplay significantly more appealing beyond just a simple run and jump. You actually have to use your ability to blast to bounce further up off of things and to use destructible environment elements to move your way further and higher into the level. It's a really fascinating title. Cannot recommend it enough.
There you have it, my friends. 10 amazing retro-style modern games that I think everyone should be playing. You can find these in a variety of areas. They're on the PS5, the Xbox Series, Steam, the Switch 2, and the original Switch. They're everywhere. There's no reason for you not to be playing these games. Now, I want to hear from you. Let me know what your favorite modern retro-style game is down in the comments, and if I haven't covered it, why I should be looking at it in future iterations of this video. Sporky says you should subscribe, don't you, buddy? Spork thinks you should subscribe. Oh, yes, he's a good boy. Hey, if you enjoyed today's video, please click the thumbs up button down below. Engagement really helps the channel out. And if you really liked it and you want to see more content like this, click subscribe. I do a couple videos a week. I'd love to have you stick around. Till next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.